Hi, in order to complete these notes, make sure you pick up a copy of the actual kind of PowerPoint looking handouts that you can write on, because you're going to need these notes for today and tomorrow and really like for the rest of the 9 weeks. So first thing I want to do is just review the terms. On this plot diagram that you see, it should look familiar. Notice that it's kind of like a mountain, but a lopsided mountain, because if the story takes forever to get to the climax and then takes forever to get back to the resolution, then it's kind of boring. So this all story can happen really fast, and it could happen even in each chapter of a book. So let's just make sure that we know the proper terms for each part. The first part is called the exposition, E-X-P-O-S-I-T-I-O-N. Exposition is kind of your baseline, nothing's really happening yet. The little moment, that moment that the conflict starts to happen, the moment that it increases in suspense, is called the initiating event. I-N-I-T-I-A-T-I-N-G. Initiating event. Throughout the story, as complications get more intense, it's called the rising action. It doesn't mean they're literally climbing up a mountain, it just means increased suspense. That moment that all the suspense culminates is called the climax, C-L-I-M-A-X. The part where the emotion decreases after the climax is called the falling action. And the very end is called the resolution, or the denouement, depends how French you're feeling. So now that you have the terms and the parts labeled, let's make sure we actually know what they mean. So the exposition is kind of your baseline of emotion. This is where nothing's really happening yet. They're just introducing the setting and the characters, no conflicts yet. This part could take several pages, or it may take one sentence. Some writers leave it out altogether and just skip right to the initiating event. So not all parts of plot will be in every single story. The initiating event, like your initials, are your first letters of your name. The initiating event is the initial or first conflict. The event that starts moving the events of the actual plot. That last word's plot if the webcam's covering it. So this is the moment that you're like, ooh, now we have a problem. Initiating event. The rising action are all the other events in the story that increase complications. Things just seem to get more and more and more complicated. If something bad happens and then it's fixed in 5 seconds, that's not really a very interesting story. So this builds suspense. Things get worse and worse and worse, or things just keep on getting more complicated. There could be 3 events in the rising action. There could be like 7,000. It just depends on the length and the complexity of the story. That moment when you as a reader are like, uh-oh, what's going to happen right now, is the highest moment of suspense. It's what everything builds to. It's not the scariest part. It's just the moment where you say, this could go either way. If you're thinking gunfight at the OK Corral, the big Western, the moment everybody draws their guns is the climax. Bad guys, good guys, shoot 'em up type thing. If everybody's lying on the ground after a shootout, that's not a climax. But it's the moment where this could go this way or this could go this way. And you kind of know which way it's going to go as a reader usually, but not always. So the climax is the highest moment of suspense. It's the moment before the conflict starts to resolve. As the conflict's moving toward a resolution, it's called the falling action. Your suspense kind of decreases. Doesn't mean it gets less scary or it was even scary to begin with, but it's like, oh, I see where this is going. And as soon as you say, oh, I see where this is going, that's your falling action. The resolution is kind of where you get back to your, okay, well, I'm not really feeling super suspenseful right now. Back to your baseline, the loose ends are tied up. Some stories do not have a resolution. Think about maybe movies you've seen or books you've read where there's going to be a sequel and you know there's a sequel. There may be a slight resolution, but not enough, and that's where people keep going with a sequel. So these terms you're going to actually apply to a cute little story called Doug's Special Mission. If you've ever seen the movie Up, he's the kind of chubby Clara looking dog, that's my dog, Doug's special mission, and try to fill out this plot diagram for that specific story. When you're done with that, come talk to your teacher about it and make sure your climax is right. If you can figure out the climax, the rest of this all kind of falls into place. So watch the movie, see if you can find the climax. I wouldn't write much on this until you've actually figured out the climax. Then you might need to go back through the little 5-minute film and fill in the actual events. So my suggestion is don't write anything on your paper until you've found the climax. Alright, have fun with it.